Welcome back. Today we're diving into this explainer on the truly profound teachings of Nisargadatta Maharaj. We're going to look closely at Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, and the absolute liberating power of the I Am. We'll unpack exactly how our own minds trick us every single day, and more importantly, how we can finally wake up. But before we go any further, I want you to ask yourself this exact question. Who is thinking your thoughts right now? Seriously, think about it. It might sound like a trick question at first, but the realization that comes from just asking it, that's literally the foundation of everything we're about to cover.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the mind's secret magician. You see, if we look at the surface level of our daily chaos, most of us wake up and immediately step right into a psychological drama, completely unaware that a secret magician is actually pulling the strings. The mind is, hands down, this world's greatest storyteller. You wake up and instantly the narrative kicks in, right? I got to do this, my life is terrible, that person totally doesn't understand me, or I need to be way more successful. We spend our entire day not actually living in reality, but living entirely within our mind's continuous stream of interpretations.
And this perfectly illustrates how the mind refuses to just let a neutral event be neutral. Take direct reality, like a simple rain shower. It's just water falling from the sky, no big deal. But the mind? It constantly injects this heavy, fictional narrative. Today is terrible, life is against me, my whole day is ruined. Or, if someone says something to us, it's really just sound waves floating through the air, but the mind immediately transforms it into, I'm not respected. We completely mistake this added, made-up meaning for reality, and that's exactly how we create our own suffering.
So, moving on to Section 2, finding the true observer.
Now that we've kind of spotted the illusion, let's turn our attention inward. You start to notice this really fascinating duality. Your mind is basically like a broadcaster, constantly talking, nonstop, rapidly shifting from one emotion to the next. But on the journey to awakening, there's this profoundly sacred moment when you realize something else is there with you, the observer. Because while your thoughts and emotions are constantly jumping all over the place, the presence that actually perceives them remains completely untouched. It's silent, it's alive, and it totally doesn't judge. Okay, let's actually try something. I want to pause for just a few seconds so you can feel this for yourself right now. Seriously, just stop what you're doing, stop looking around, and stop anticipating whatever comes next.
Try to drop that relentless broadcaster entirely. Don't try to think. Honestly, don't even try to meditate or force some kind of deep mystical state. Just let go of all the effort.
And strip away all the labels we usually cling to. Nisargadatta Maharaj points out how quickly we add things on, like I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a massive success, or I'm a total failure. Strip all of that away, just for a second, and focus purely on that silent space inside you, that really simple truth of your existence before any definitions pop up. You exist. That's it. That primal feeling, that incredibly simple I am, is pure awareness. It acts exactly like a movie screen that stays completely unaffected by the crazy, chaotic movie playing on it. Your body ages, your emotions swing wildly from joy to absolute sorrow, but that fundamental, bedrock feeling of I am, it hasn't changed one bit since you were a little kid. And here's the wild part. This awareness doesn't just belong to you. In Advaita Vedanta, this is known as the Atman, your true self. But it's not some personal possession you keep in your pocket. It's kind of like a single source of electricity illuminating billions of different light bulbs all over the world. You are the bulb, sure, but the essence running through you is one and the same, entirely inseparable from Brahman, the ultimate cosmic consciousness. Which brings us to Section 3, the ego's relentless storyteller.
You see, the ego absolutely cannot survive in that beautiful silence we just tapped into. It demands movement, it craves drama. So it becomes this relentless storyteller, constantly firing off thoughts from its survival arsenal. It drags up the past, worries about the future, obsesses over what you should have been, what others think of you, your old hurts, and even your old victories. It plays these things on repeat, like a broken record, just to keep the illusion of a separate self alive and kicking, a me that it insists is totally distinct from everything else. And this brings us to a really powerful redefinition of a super ancient concept, Maya. Maya isn't just the illusion of the physical world outside of you. Maya is actually the mind's ability to create a fictional inner storyteller. The hypnotic effect of repeating those same stories over and over creates a deeply ingrained psychological habit. A habit so strong that you actually start to believe the storyteller is who you are. You think I'm completely worthless so many times that it honestly stops being a passing thought and morphs into your absolute, undeniable identity.
Let's dive into Section 4, the trap of spiritual ego. We have to be careful here, because the mind is incredibly clever. It can so easily slip on a new, shiny, holy disguise. When someone once asked Maharaj how to attain enlightenment, he answered with a question that really confused a lot of people. He asked, "Find out who is the one seeking enlightenment." He used this piercing arrow of a question to just completely demolish the concepts that spiritual seekers love to cling to. He totally refused to stroke their egos. He knew perfectly well that the seeker could just be the mind playing its newest, most sophisticated role yet.
I mean, look at this. A person can literally meditate for decades, but still suffer miserably, because they haven't actually dissolved the ego at all. They've merely updated its wardrobe. Instead of flaunting money, the material ego shifts and suddenly the spiritual ego is flaunting its higher consciousness. Instead of competing for a bigger house, it's competing for enlightenment. Instead of wanting to be seen as a super successful business person, it desperately wants everyone to see it as an awakened Zen master. The ego can wear the disguise of a poor victim, for sure, but man, it can just as easily wear the disguise of a flawless saint.
That brings us to our final part, Section 5, Dissolving the Illusion.
We finally reached the core of all this. And spoiler alert, it isn't about gaining some cool new spiritual superpower. It's actually about the death of an illusion. And the ego? It fights this dissolution tooth and nail. Because when there's no psychological noise, this strange void appears, and the ego absolutely interprets that deep silence as its own death. Honestly, this is exactly why so many of us are terrified to just sit alone in a room without our phones, without some music playing, or without constant chatter. If everything stops, the ego loses all its power. But as Maharaj beautifully points out, for the enlightened being, that void isn't death at all. It's freedom. It's the incredible, unshakable peace of just being nobody.
Dying to the ego is definitely not some cold, dark tragedy. It's exactly like waking up from a dream. Think about it. While you're dreaming, the character you're playing believes they are totally independent and separate. They feel real fear, real pain. But waking up is simply the realization that the entire dream was just appearing within a single consciousness. Your consciousness. When the ego dies, life doesn't suddenly become cold or emotionless. Actually, life begins for the very first time. It's about experiencing this profound, overwhelming love where a tiny drop of water realizes it hasn't died. It's simply realized that it is and always has been the entire ocean. I want to leave you with this phenomenal thought from the sages. What you truly seek is not in the future, it has always been present. Underneath every single fear, behind every repeating story in your head, and beneath the endless chatter of your mind, your true freedom is, and always has been, silently waiting for you right here. So, the next time your mind starts spinning a wild story of suffering, I want you to step back and ask yourself, are you the story, or are you the silent awareness watching it unfold?